What up, you guys? Welcome back to Pro Publications YouTube channel. Daily upload till I open up my comic book store. And today I want to talk about Marvel movies. I know a lot of folks are on the Marvel side of it and a lot of folks that are on the other side of it. I'm somewhere in the middle. There's a lot that I like about the Marvel movies and what they bring to cinema. And there's a lot of things that the movies don't do themselves, but overall the commercialization of them really does have like a negative impact. So to begin with, this is spawned because of the Thunderbolts asterisk movie, and I guess now it's been revealed that this Thunderbolts movie was a segue into the new Avengers. And the thing that got me was that some folks on the Marvel side of it all were really upset because they felt like it was spoilers. On the flip side to that, a lot of the folks that I know on the other side of the aisle, they really felt like it was gimmicky. I like the gimmicky stuff. I love the story of Alfred Hitchcock buying every copy of Psycho because he didn't want anyone to have spoilers. And when I think about cinema now currently, I don't think a lot of people do that. It's almost like if you wanted to, you can have a whole video of spoilers that would explain the whole movie to you prior to the movie's release. And that to me just isn't fun. It's not fun cinema. And one of the things that I like about Marvel is that they do a really good job of keeping it a secret. But what I will say is that if you don't go the first week, then just assume that you're going to be completely bombarded with spoilers and it's going to be ruined. I know I tried really hard to stay away from spoilers from Spider-Man No Way Home because Tobey Maguire is my Spider-Man. And so I was happy to see him in that capacity playing the same Peter Parker just in the Marvel universe. And so for me, it was hella dope. And they kept it a secret for so long that I genuinely was surprised when I heard that he genuinely was in the movie and not just like a quick cameo, but like an integral part in the story. And I enjoyed that. And I think that Marvel's done that on multiple occasions where you didn't know what was going to happen or the way it was going to play out. So Marvel's done a really good job of keeping us, the viewers, in anticipation, right? Like we are excited to see how the story is going to unfold. And obviously not every movie, but for the most part, you know, the movies that appeal to you, that are aimed and targeted towards you, I think they do a really good job of keeping us interested in what could occur and how that's going to unfold. But one of the things that I do not like is what people refer to as the Marvelization of Hollywood. This idea that like everything needs to be similar to a Marvel movie. And the other problem that I have with Marvel movies is that they always seem to have the good guys win. And it's like there's never the Empire Strikes Back. And I think that's why Avengers Infinity War really hit, because that was the only Empire Strikes Back. And it was a gut punch to see like all the characters go out in the blip. And that was very fun and it was very interesting. You don't get enough of those. Right? When I think of the Marvel movies that I like the most, it's usually those movies where the heroes don't really win the way you would assume them to win, right? Age of Ultron is another one that kind of was that for me of, yes, they beat Age of Ultron, but they proved themselves to be incapable, and that was the perfect segue into Civil War, which again, Civil War ends with them not liking each other, and that was one of the better runs. And so this idea that they always have to win, the main characters always have to win, I think is a very limited scope and a very limited range for these characters. And the other reason why I want to mention this is because I saw this video of Quentin Tarantino talking about how the characters are the superstars and all this. Who cares? Like I could care less about movie stars. But yeah, Quentin Tarantino made some comments and this idea of how there's Marvel's killing the movie stars, and like I think that's a good thing. Like I think there's a lot of movies that I love that the movie stars that were in it didn't really matter. For example, when I talk about The Godfather, I very rarely am like, because if it wasn't Al Pacino, it's like, no, the way Francis Ford Coppola put that movie together and the story in itself, that's the hero. Like that's what we go there for. Alfred Hitchcock movies is another example. I love a lot of Alfred Hitchcock movies. It was never because of the actor. It was because of the way the story was told, the story in itself. That was what the draw was. And so I think that that's a good thing. So when I hear people like Quentin Tarantino talking about how it's killing movie stars, good.
You have all these actors who have become famous, playing these
parts,
characters.
yeah.
But they're not movie stars.
Right.
Captain America is the star.
Fuck these movie stars. What the fuck? So what? But one thing that I will say is that I understand that idea of like Hollywood wants, because they're so successful, Hollywood wants everything now to resemble that. And that's what I don't like, is it's less the Marvel movies, but rather where the money ends up going because of the Marvel movies, right? Everybody wants the next big franchise. Everybody wants the next big comic book thing to become the movie. So like a little hole-in-the-wall movie that's character-driven or a premise-driven story that has nothing to do with this larger continuity, but rather just a one-shot movie that just needs to be told from point A to point B and that's it. Nobody wants, because they want the next big franchise, right? They want the next Fast and the Furious. They want the next Mission Impossible. They want the next Marvel universe. So that's definitely a problem. But those are my thoughts today, man. That's all I want to talk about. As always, there will be a link in the show notes if you guys want to hit up feralpublication.com, where you guys can pick up the zines I make, buttons, stickers, or t-shirts. Beyond that, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Lates.